Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 5, and Act 2, Scene 2. In these scenes, we come across many important and lasting ideas from the Western tradition. That about the earthly body and the more exalted spirit. These ideas come from the philosophy of Plato. Platonism emphasizes the absolute and emphasizes the inferiority of what we can understand with our eyes, with our senses, and the superiority of the spiritual. The reason the spiritual is superior to the material in Platonism and in Buddhism and in many other philosophies is that the material is mortal, rots, dies, passes away. For this reason, the spiritual is superior. Platonism asserts the superiority of the spirit and the inferiority of matter. Immediately when Romeo sees Juliet in Act 1, Scene 5, she is exalted above this earthly realm. Romeo speaks. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night like a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear, beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. And when Romeo touches Juliet's hand, he subjugates his own flesh to Juliet's more exalted spirit, that of a saint or of a holy shrine. Other elements of Platonism in Romeo and Juliet is that the world that appears to our senses, the world of Romeo in Act 1, Scene 1, is in some way defective and filled with error. But there is a more real and perfect realm, which Romeo sees in Act 1, Scene 5. Here Romeo is very much like the person from Plato's famous philosophical allegory of the cave, who emerges from the cave of seeing only shadows to see for the first time the brilliant sun. For previously, Romeo could only see the mere shadow of love, with the phantom of love, his Rosaline. And like the person in the cave who emerges to the outside world and for the first time sees everything properly illuminated, he sees the true forms of what he'd formerly known only as shadow, seeing for the first time actual flowers and the color of birds and the like. Romeo, too, for the first time upon seeing Juliet, sees true love. In Act 1, Scene 5, Romeo speaks. Did my heart love till now? Forswear it, sight, for I never saw true beauty till this night. He immediately, like Plato's cave dweller, forswears or disavows all that he previously knew or thought was real with his shadowy love for Rosaline. And like the cave dweller, he is dazzled by the brilliant sunshine that is Juliet. And he praises Juliet for her exalted state, and he rejoices in his own gained insight and enlightenment. In Act 2, Scene 2, Romeo speaks. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. In Platonism, the higher realm is populated by entities that are eternal and changeless. This is why Juliet is the sun, and the moon in Act 2, Scene 2 is inferior to swear one's love by. Romeo continues, two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres. Then she, greater than the stars, the brightness of her cheek would shame those stars. And when Juliet speaks, Romeo responds, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night over my head as a winged messenger of heaven. And here again, Romeo subjugates his flesh to Juliet's superior spiritual state. And he speaks of her in this way as himself unto the white, upturned, wondering eyes of mortals. These scenes perfectly express Plato's statement about the man who emerges from the cave of shadows. Plato writes, previously he had been looking merely at phantoms. Now he is nearer to the true nature of being. Previously, Romeo had been looking merely at Rosaline and the phantom of love. But now with Juliet, he is nearer to the true nature of love.